Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Jodie Hudson. I'm your convener, communications officer and international officer. Today we're going to be talking about the NJC Pay Claim. And I hand over to you, Kerri.
Thank you, Jodie. Hello, everybody. My name is Kerri Tierney, and I'm the Branch Secretary for Unison Rotherham Local Government Branch. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, or thank you if you're watching the webinar through the email that you've received. Thank you for your time. Tonight is about one thing, it's about your pay, and hopefully through this webinar we're going to be able to explain where we currently are in negotiations, what we've asked for, what the employers have offered and why Unison's rejected that offer. We also want to cover what happens next and what you as a member can do to participate or to show your support. Then at the end we'll be able to run through some questions that Jodie's had sent in advance. So a little bit of background to the NJC. Not everybody knows what the NJC is or what it stands for. It is the National Joint Council. So the National Joint Council, they're responsible for negotiating pay and conditions for over 1 million local government workers across England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And for us, that includes council staff and school support staff. And instead of every council negotiating separately, we negotiate nationally, and that gives us far greater bargaining power. So the background to this year's claim, it didn't come out of nowhere. We know that council workers have experienced years of falling living standards, and we might have seen some positive pay increases in recent years, but they've followed a decade where the value of our local government pay fell significantly in real terms, and the rise has failed to keep up with inflation. You know, realistically, our members in council and schools are facing a 23% real terms cut in their wages over the last 10, 15 years. And at the same time, we've seen food bills increase, we've seen energy costs rise, rents and mortgages increase, transport costs through the roof. And ultimately, our staff within council and schools are expected to do more with less resources and fewer colleagues. And we know that across local government, we've got huge recruitment and retention problems. We know that vacancies are still difficult to fill. And we're seeing experienced staff leave because they can simply earn more money elsewhere. And this affects every service. So it's not just about our wages, it's about the protection of public services. So the unions, Unison, GMB and Unite, as part of the NJC, they submitted a joint claim. And this year's claim was for an increase of at least £3,000 or 10%, whichever is greater. And alongside that, we also asked for a minimum pay rate of £15 an hour, a 2-hour reduction in the working week with no loss of pay, 1 day's additional annual leave, paid turn time leave for school support staff, and we asked for recognised progression for teaching assistants moving from level 1 to level 2. We didn't feel that this was unrealistic. As a branch, we consulted with our members and we listened to our members about the difficulties that they're facing. And we felt that the offer that we submitted, the claim that we submitted, actually reflected what our members told us that they needed. So our members are facing that deficit. Their wages have been stagnant for 10, 15 years, and we can't just blame that on austerity. We can't blame that just on lack of funding. There are other issues amongst that. We know that local government pay has fallen by 26% in real terms. We've seen food prices go through the roof and energy bills. We spoke about that. And we know that our government, local government workers are really struggling to keep up with that pace of the cost of living. And even with the recent increases, our members are still worse off in real terms than they were over a decade ago. And at the same time, we're losing staff, we've got cuts, we've got vacancies, and members are doing more work for less reward. What we asked for the £3,000 or 10%, whichever was greater. And the offer that came back from the employers was full and final, and they offered us a 3.3% pay increase. They rejected the £15 an hour, the reduced working week, the extra annual leave, school support staff leave, and the progression for teaching assistants. And so we took that out to our branches and to our regional committee, and we asked for members' feedback on that offer. And a lot of our members came back. To quote a few members, they felt it was disgusting, they felt very undervalued, and some of our members were saying, look, you know, I'm going to have to leave my job. I cannot afford to stay in the job I'm doing on the rate of the pay that I'm getting. And, you know, we can't have that. Better pay, and this is why this claim matters, because it is about more than pay. But better pay means better recruitment, it means better staff retention, it means better public services, it means recognition for our essential workers, and it means a fair reward for all the increasing workloads that we all seem to face on a daily basis. So after the full and final offer was rejected by Unison, Unison NJC committee then decided that we would be moving to an industrial action ballot. So that's a national ballot. Because of the changes in the Employment Rights Act, there are some things that in future we'll be able to do. Those things aren't in place at the moment. So the ballot needs to be a postal one. We're unable to do a digital ballot at the moment, so you will receive an envelope in the post with your ballot papers in, and we're asking you to look at the papers, to read what's in there, make your decision, to send that back. Unison nationally and your branch are recommending that you vote yes for strike action. You know, our members really need to take a stand on this, and for that message to go back to the local government association and say, this isn't good enough, we are worth more. So it does need to be an industrial action ballot. The ballot opens on the 9th of July and it closes on the 6th of August. So keep those dates in your mind. And we do need those basic thresholds to still be met. So we do need a turnout. So we need as many members to participate as possible. And we need at least a 50% turnout. And then we need a huge percent of those members to actually say, yes, I agree with the vote for strike action. Now, so just because you're voting yes for strike action, it doesn't mean that you will be taking industrial action. What it means is that we've got the leverage then to be able to go back to the local government association and say, we've had this huge turnout and this is the consensus of members. This is what members are saying, and we are prepared to take industrial action. Doesn't mean that that's going to involve a day on the picket line, a day out on strike. It could be that we look at other options. When we've reviewed the results, it could be that we're looking at a smaller group of members to take that action if we don't reach the mandate in the larger ones. But we're really lucky in Rotherham. We've got to look at our target employer, which is our NBC, and the schools that are covered within our NBC. So they're all the members that we're going to be asking to participate in this vote. And when it comes to taking industrial action, no member should be penalised for that. You know, employers aren't even allowed to ask members if they are a member of the union. But if you are taking industrial action and you're worried about repercussions from your employer, then that is illegal. You know, as a trade union, we would stand behind any member that received any detriment or any repercussions for being involved in trade union activities. It is illegal. And as a trade union, we would come out and defend that. So hopefully that gives you the reassurance that you are supported. And it is a national ballot. So it will be a national day of strike if that's where we ended up going, and you wouldn't be on your own for taking any industrial action. There are other things in place. You know, members are worried, am I going to lose money if I come out on strike? We do have an industrial action fund nationally, so you would be entitled to the standard industrial action payment for the day. And then if any member falls into genuine hardship, then that member needs to approach the branch and speak to their branch about whether they're eligible for additional payments. But under no circumstances, we don't want to see members worse off by coming out on strike, but we also need members to understand that this sacrifice that they're making, they're doing it collectively, and we're hoping that by standing together, the local government association are going to see that power, see that collective negotiation power there, and come with a better offer. That's what the hope is. But we need to reassure members that if they do come out on strike, there is a strike payment that they would be entitled to.
That sounds great, Kerri. So what happens next?
So the ballot is live from the 9th of July and it is running until the 6th of August. So from the 9th of July, all our members will start to receive ballot papers in the post, and we're asking members to read through the ballot papers to make the decision to send their papers back as quick as they can. And what branch are doing in the meantime, we're looking to organise workplace visits, we're looking to do walkthroughs in certain areas, we're looking to do phone banking, we're looking to encourage members to sign the active pledge. So, you know, even if you're not involved in this industrial action, you can still support other members, and you can still show those members that you support them and give them your solidarity. We're asking for members and our pay champions to be that link between us and the workplaces, and make sure that communication's going through as we move along. And we'll see branch activity pick up towards the end of the ballot period as well, with different events that we're looking at. The most important thing is for members is that they check that their details are up to date, because your ballot paper will be arriving at your home address. So if you've moved address in the last few years, or you don't think that you've not been getting emails from us, then you need to go on to My Unison and update your details, or contact branch and do it through Sarah, our branch admin. But it's important that we make as many members aware as possible that the ballot paper is due from the 9th of July, so that we're ready and waiting for it, and we can get that filled in and returned as quick as possible.
That's great, Kerri. Thank you so much. So all that's left now is just the questions from the members. The first one is, why is the 2026 pay claim higher than the previous years?
Okay, I don't think it is higher than the previous years. Last year we submitted a claim for £3,000. The year before was a claim for £3,000. What's been less is that the offer that the local government association have given us. Last year it was 1,295. The year before it was 1,925. You know, and I think it's clear to our members that that's not enough. You know, last year's was less than half of the claim that we submitted, and again we thought that that claim was reasonable. It's affordable by councils, it's affordable with extra government funding, so why should our members suffer a detriment? So I don't think it's lower than what we've submitted in previous years. What we don't want is a lower offer coming back, so this is why it's important to participate in this ballot.
Why does Unison say that we're in a pay deficit?
Well, when you look at what we've experienced over the last 10, 15 years, you know, it's easy to say a lot of that falls on the austerity measures, but we've also seen a change in government in the last 2 years, and our pay hasn't got better. So we are in real terms deficit. We've got the cost of living crisis and all those extra bills that we've talked about. You know, to travel anywhere these days, to put petrol or diesel or electric in a vehicle, it isn't what it used to be 10, 15 years ago. But our wages haven't risen to counterbalance that. And what we're seeing is, yeah, sometimes it might, you know, 3.3% might be slightly in front of inflation, but what in real terms, inflation's going like this and our wages are coming like this. You know, there is so much more months left at the end of your salary. Our members cannot afford to continue on the pay that we're currently receiving. So we are in a deficit. I don't think there's any of us on this call or watching this at the moment that can say they're actually able to save any money at the end of the month to have those enjoyments that we've previously had, whether that be a couple of days away with your family, an extra few presents at Christmas. You know, our members aren't enjoying those treats. They're actually struggling with the cost of living and surviving from day to day.
Thank you. What happens if members vote yes in the ballot?
So if members vote yes in the ballot, which is what Unison are recommending that members vote, then those results will be reviewed and there will be a decision made by the NJC, by that group, as to the actions that we take next. And that might not look like industrial action. It might not mean, as I said before, that we have to come out and stand on a picket line. You know, it might mean that we look at various other things, action short of strike, which doesn't always mean coming out on the picket line. It means some other actions that we can take that would restrict a service from running 100%. So if we return a yes in Rotherham, then we will then wait for the NJC advice, follow that, and you know, hopefully, but ultimately we still might get another offer from the local government association that might give us the leverage that we need for them to sit and wake up and say, you know, members are really serious here. They actually know that they're entitled to fairer pay than what we've been giving them, and we might see another offer being submitted. We might not, but we will review it at every result, at every stage, and we'll look at the best course of action to have the biggest impact.
Great. What happens if the turnout is below 50%?
Yeah, so if we don't achieve the 50% turnout, then again, it'll be a case of we're looking at the results, we're reviewing that, and we might see pockets of workplaces, of teams, of services within Rotherham, within Yorkshire and Humberside, within National, that we are able to use as a huge key in gaining leverage. So it would all depend on what the results say and the review of those results as to the decisions that are being taken next. But as always, we'd keep members abreast of those decisions, and that communication would be coming out through your pay champions, your conveners, and your branch comms.
Brill. Can I vote no and still support the campaign?
Absolutely. I mean, the key thing is to participate in this. This is members' opportunities to raise their concerns on their pay, to actually put pen to paper and say, this is what I want. That's the biggest thing. That's what we want in trade unions, as many members participating in this ballot. Now, we've gone one step further on this and we've made a recommendation because Unison know that this claim isn't unrealistic. The offer back is, but the original claim wasn't. We knew that councils could afford this. They've got a huge amount of reserves. Some councils have got millions in reserves. So we do believe that there is a better use of that money to keep and retain and recruit experienced staff. And we all know that's got to be achieved by decent pay for the job. So even if you want to vote no, that rhymed. Even if you want to vote no in this industrial action ballot, we'd still welcome you participating in that. That's what we do as a trade union. We need everybody's voices.
Absolutely. Will I lose pay if I take strike action?
So you would lose a day's pay. What we've got in Unison is we've got the industrial action standard pay. So you would still be eligible to receive that £50. And also as a branch, we've got an industrial action fund. So if there's any members that fall into financial hardship, by taking industrial action for 1 day or 2 days, then we would speak to those members, process a claim, and we'd help support those members. So there would be a slight detriment if you took industrial action, but because we've got that industrial action pay set up nationally, then hopefully that would ease it for members. But, you know, taking strike or any sort of industrial action is a protest. You know, this is our labour that we're withdrawing because the employers aren't paying us enough. It's as simple as that. So, you know, as in any industrial action, there is a slight loss. As a union, you know, we put things in place so members don't, it's not hitting members as hard as taking industrial action with no recompense from the union.
Why can't the union just negotiate harder instead of balloting?
Okay. I mean, I know that NJC negotiations start as soon as the last one's been cleared. So Unison, we were early out of the starting blocks and we began our negotiations quite early. As a branch, we balloted members, well, consulted with members through a ballot on what they thought the next year's pay claim should be. So there has been a huge amount of negotiations going on in the background. But as with any, when employees are coming and asking employers for more money, they're not going to say yes straight away. So we've had that to in and fro in. And you know, the feedback from the NJC committee is that the full and final offer came without negotiations. So the Local Government Association put out their full and final offer very early on. And what that's enabled us to do is to get prepared for an industrial action ballot. So we have worked hard in those negotiations, but sometimes it's just employers that don't want to pay anymore. And if they can get away without paying anymore, 100% they will.
Mm. So the next question is, what if I'm not in a union? Can I still take part?
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not in a union, this is a perfect time to join Unison. Members who join now or non-members that join now become members will be entitled to have a vote up until the 23rd of July. So if you're a non-member, you want to join Unison to participate in this, then you can still join up until the 23rd of July and be eligible to have a vote. So absolutely. And if you're not a member of a union, join now.
It's great. What if the employer says they just can't afford it?
Yeah. Well, every employer is going to say that they can't afford to pay anyone a pay rise and they can't afford this for the office or that for the school or blah, blah, blah. You know, we've seen so many cuts to jobs at the moment. We're seeing vacant jobs just fading away into the ether because the council can't afford to keep them open. How the council budgets is up to the council, and they set out every year their budgets. They have financial mid-year reviews. We have funding coming in. Our council has got a huge amount in reserves, so we know that we are not facing any emergencies when it comes to our budgets. There is central government funding as well that local government can apply for. So we're expecting the council to say we can't afford it. The Local Government Association has said they can't afford it. But ultimately, our members can't keep affording to go to work for 26% less of what they are entitled to, not in the current crisis.
What if I'm on maternity leave or sick leave or I work part-time? Can I still vote?
Yeah, absolutely. You're a member of the union. So, yeah, whether you're on maternity, sick leave, whether you're on annual leave, you will still get your vote in the post, and we would still 100% encourage you to take part in that, send that back. You're still a member of the union, you're still one of us.
Thanks, Kerri. And last question, will taking action affect my job security?
No, absolutely not. There are laws that prohibit your employer to treat you any less favourably just because you participated in trade union activities, whether that be in industrial action or attending one of our update meetings. Employers don't have the right to ask you if you're part of a union. However, if you are choosing to take industrial action at a particular time, they would be informed of that. But there's no detriment. There is the trade union law in place that protects our activists from suffering any of that. And again, as we mentioned earlier, if you do experience any discomfort on the back of this, then as a trade union, we would 100% support you with challenging your employer with that.
That's great. Thank you very much, Kerri. That's all the questions. If anyone has any more questions after this, feel free to drop us an email or a text or come see us in branch. And I think that's it for us, Kerri.
Thank you, Jodie. That wasn't as hard as what I expected you to make it for me. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for joining us. What I would just say now is make sure your details are up to date. Follow us on social media, because that's the fastest way that we can get information out to you as well. And watch out for your ballot paper arriving on the 9th of July and the following days. But yeah, really excited. And if you have got any more questions, drop us a line. If you want us to come and visit your workplace, let us know. And we're happy to come out, share with you some information, or if you'd like us to send that over so you could share that with colleagues, that's absolutely fine. But there will be comms coming out regularly, so watch your emails and watch your post box.
Oh yeah. Right, done.
Thank you.